system. It hinders it. That's right. And ice cream. Ice cream is not cold. It's freezing. Right? Yes. Okay. Once again, this is not to criticize. God is calling us up higher and higher. Do you do any juicing? If you juice on a daily basis or on a regular basis, maybe 3-4 times a week, put a check mark. Put a red check mark. And why do we say that? What did we learn from the Spirit of Prophecy last week? What does juicing do? I'm not talking about if somebody's sick and has cancer and you're giving them carrot juice for the cancer, but I'm talking about just on a regular basis. What does it do? It puts a burden on the kidneys. That's right. So put a red check mark there. No, what'd you say? Yes, put a red check mark. 31. Now, it's okay to have an occasional glass of grape juice. But do we want 4 glasses of grape juice? Do we want juice every single day? No, we shouldn't. We're told in Proverbs that God gave the water to quench the thirst of man. 31. How many servings of grains do you eat per day? If you eat less than 4 to 5 servings of grains a day, put a red check mark. Half a cup. Or 1 slice of toast. Whole grain toast. So if you have 2 slices of whole grain toast and a cup of oatmeal in the day or a cup of granola, you've had your 4 servings. They say minimum 4 to 6. I lowered it down to 4 to 5. Do you cook your grains for several hours before eating? When I say cook your grains, I mean toast them in the oven. Do you know every grain that is used for porridge, like oatmeal and wheatina, all those grains, do you know she says we're supposed to cook them for several hours? Because otherwise the enzyme in them is not broken down and then it hinders the digestion. So when you get your oats, put them on a cookie sheet, stick them in the oven. It's like dehydrating it for a little bit. Put it on low and let it sit in there for at least 2 hours. And then use those oats to cook. Yes. Yes. They're not cooked. Yes. Yes. You want to toast them for a little bit. And you can find that. Let me just tell you real fast where you can find that. I'll find the quote. It says, grains used for porridge or mush should have several hours cooking. But softer liquid foods are less wholesome than dry foods. Okay, so she said the ones that you use for mush or porridge, that's what we call oatmeal today, or wheatina. And you can find that on page 301 of Ministry of Healing. Yes, minimum of 2 hours. Yes, put a red check mark. If you said no, put a red check mark. See what I'm saying by stuff you'll be surprised at? I was surprised myself. I had 22 red check marks when I was finished. Okay, number 32. Do you eat underripe food? If you eat green bell peppers that you bought from a store, put yes. Because green bell peppers are unripe. They turn into yellow, red, and orange. Unless you bought the green bell pepper seeds yourself and planted it yourself, or you went to a farmer's market and they said, yes, these are the actual green bell peppers. But the ones that are sold in the grocery stores are the unripe bell peppers. And the reason they sell the green ones in the store the most is because the shelf life is longer. They last longer. And the reason the red bell peppers are a lot more expensive is because the shelf life is shorter, so they go bad quickly. Okay, number 33. Do you eat rotten fruit? And when I say rotten, you see the banana. I don't mean the speckles. Speckles are normal on the outside of the skin. Or even a bruise because you banged the banana. But if you see it's rotten, or even in the apple it's rotten, the whole apple's good but this little piece is rotten, and you cut it out, put a red check mark. Because what happens is that rot has permeated the entire fruit. And I was guilty of that. I was trying to be conservative, save money. Okay, 34. Do you eat any fermented food such as yogurt? That includes soy yogurt. Soy yogurt is fermented. Are we supposed to eat anything rotten? No. Do you eat anything fermented such as yogurt, including soy yogurt, miso, tempeh, cottage cheese, seitan, soy sauce, sauerkraut, or any other fermented item? If you put yes, put a red check mark. Okay, and it said, please circle all that apply or write down anything that are not included. Number 35, do you drink soda, Gatorade, flavored water, bottled juice, punch, carbonated or flavored water, etc. If you said yes to any of those, put a red check mark. 36. Do you eat at least 50% raw every day? If you don't, put a red check mark. 37. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to step on toes here, but do you use nutritional or brewer's yeast flakes? If you put yes, put a red check mark. Number 38. Do you eat ice cream or shakes? We talked about the smoothies early, but if you eat shakes or something, put a red check mark. Now, if you take fruit out of the refrigerator that's not frozen and you stick it in the blender and it's not cold and frozen, that's fine. I'm not saying we can't enjoy our food and blend it in the blender, but if it's cold and you put it on your mouth and it's cold or it's icy, we're not supposed to eat that. So I'm not saying you can't have blended fruit smoothies. We just don't want it ice cold smoothies. Okay. Number 39, do you eat hot food? Hot as just came out of the oven, not referring to spicy, but like it just came out of the oven. If you put yes, put a red check mark. Yes, if you have to blow your food, if it's hot, if you eat that, put a red check mark. Okay, do we have check marks? I know I do. Okay, but see, this is just to give you a visual of what areas, I know it sounds harsh, but we've gone so back to Egypt, have we not? We've adopted many things. God is calling us back. So this is just to show us where we are faltering. Because I hear many people say all the time, well, I'm following the laws of health and I still have this and this and that problem. No, because what is disease? Disease is a violation of the laws of health. You're violating something. Understandable? Okay. Now, our next one. What's that down there? What's our next law? Amen. Exercise. Do you exercise? Yes or no? Now, have you been consistent with it for the last 30 days? If yes, put yes, no red check mark. If no, then you put a red check mark. Put a red check mark. Put a red check mark. Okay. Which type of exercise? If your exercise is not walking, put a red check mark. I don't care if you're weight training. I don't care if you're squats. If it's not walking, put a red check mark. Why is that? We are counseled to walk every single day in the morning. What'd you say? No, that's fine. If yours includes walking, that's fine. But if it does not include walking, put a red check mark. And I don't mean you walked and went got to your car and got in your car and then you walked from the car and went to work. I mean regular walking, yes. If that's what your normal routine is, then you have to put a red check mark. I'm talking about in addition. Okay. How many times per week? If you exercise less than 7 days a week, then put a red check mark. How many days are we told to walk? Every single day. That doesn't mean you have to do all your other stuff every day. I have now the abduer twist. I took Sabbath off. Oh, my arms are so sore, I'm telling you. I said, thank you for the Sabbath, but I still did my walking this morning. So if you do it less than 7, put a red check mark. How would you rate your exercise? Mild, moderate, or vigorous? If you put mild or vigorous, put a red check mark. What did we learn, class, about vigorous exercise? And it's all in the news now. Vigorous, so that Jillian and that Tybo, and it's not good. It causes blood clotting. People are dropping dead, having heart attacks because they're getting blood clots. We should do moderate exercise. We should be in the middle. Okay. This is kind of fun though, isn't it? Yeah. Kind of learning? Okay. Number 4, what are your favorite exercise sessions? That's just for you to write down. Number 5, how do you feel after you exercise? Me personally, I feel great. I have energy that I have not had up until a week ago. Number 6, do you experience any pain while you are exercising? You don't have to put a red check mark. That means your muscles are working. You're working muscles you haven't worked. Number 7, do you exercise out of doors every day? If you put no, put a red check mark. Where does the prophet of the Lord say we are to exercise? If you exercise in a gym, put a red check mark. Do you know why? Because she said in order to be indoors in a building, it must be aired out every single day for hours, and the sun must be allowed to come in every single day. Do they do that at the 24-hour fitness? And what are the people breathing off? Carbon dioxide. Are you breathing that in? Yes. We need the negative ions and not the positive ions. So if you work out in a gym, put a red check mark. Okay, number 9. Do you do any type of weight training? If you put no, that's fine. If you put yes and it's vigorous, put a red check mark. Okay, our next one, water. How many glasses of water do you usually drink per day? Now, it depends on the person. A lot of people don't know this. I learned this when I did the Health Expo. You want to take your weight, and what do we divide our weight by? But guess what we have to add because we live up here in the desert? Plus 16 ounces. No, 2 cups. Plus 16 ounces. If you are not, who's small in here and doesn't mind giving their weight size? Krista, how much do you weigh? Okay, 125. So that would be at least 67.5 ounces. Okay, but we round it off to 68. Plus 16. That's 84 ounces. So how many glasses a day would that be? Almost 11, right? Almost 11 glasses. So that would be 5.5 bottles minimum a day. Now, do you wake up in the morning and wait 2 hours to drink water and then gulp down 2 cups? No, because it's going to flush right through you. If you gulp your water, if you are not drinking half your weight in ounces plus 16 ounces every day, put a red check mark. Yes, add 16 ounces to Tehachapi. Your high elevation. Yes. You need 166 ounces. Yes. How much water is the body? 66 to 75. I've heard even up to 80. Then you need that much. You need that much, if not more. So it's according to your body weight. Now, I have heard this from a fireman, and I'm still doing research, but I'm not supporting it 100%, but I am doing research in it. This is what the fireman told me. He's a Seventh-day Adventist fireman, and he came to a seminar a couple months back in April, so 9 months ago. His name is Walt Cross. What he taught, and I said I really need to research this out, what he taught was you take your ideal weight. So, what you're supposed to weigh. So, if you're 5'4" and you're medium build, you're supposed to be like between, I think it's 118 and 134, 132. So you cut that in half, and that's how many ounces you drink. And then however many pounds you are overweight, you cut that in half, and then you add that. You don't drink those ounces. Or you cut it in fourths, and you add it to your ideal weight. That's a little less than what we've been taught. I'm still doing research, but that's what he's saying. I've heard some people say no because you're still dehydrated. I'm not sure. I haven't decided, so I'm still sticking with the 50% plus the 16 ounces if you live in a high elevation. And I got this off of a health website. It's a government website where they determine dehydration of a person. When people go to the hospital and they admit them, what do they put?